Hello everyone. Today is still 12th of September. Now it's about 6 o'clock in the evening Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my second update for a day in which I will share at least some of the main news that Russian media reported about during their day. And before I start, dear friends, let me thank you all for happy wishes, for kind words. Entire comment section on the first update is basically happy birthdays. So truly grateful for your kindness. Thank you all. And you are great. You are a great community, dear friends. And I'm always grateful for your attention and support. So that's being said. Let me show you, dear friends, legendary piece of military equipment. This is Is-2, Second World War era tank, late stages of Second World War. Monument here because this is Serebrenny Bor area in Moscow, which is translates as a silver forest, and number of military formations were created here that fight then in many places in the Second World War, including Kursk battle and Stalingrad battle. And this tank is of course legendary one. It was capable of knocking out German Tiger tanks with in the frontal armor, by the way. And very few tanks were capable of such strikes at the time. And many members of our community probably know, who loves military history, that Is-3, by the way, next generation of the tanks, also legendary 3 tanks, were also created during the Second World War. Although, even though they participate in a victory parade in Berlin, I believe they did not participate in the battles. But Is-2s definitely did. Truly legendary tanker. Although, of course, when it comes to Soviet era tanks during the Second World War, T-34 is stands strong. Of course, everybody knows T-34. Although Is-2s are also legendary, and it translates, Is EOS of Stalin. That was how this Is series of tanks were called. And well, that's been said, let's talk about news, by the way. And of course, still one of the major topics for today is this topic of long-range strikes deep inside the Russian territory. And we have RIA Novosti's report that US administration wants to hear some more clarifications from the Zelensky's regime before they will authorize strikes deep inside Russian territory with US weapon systems. Although this information that comes from US originally don't really make much sense, because since when US is not in charge in Ukraine? Since when US administration is asking anything to Zelensky? We are observing basically some sort of gameplay on part of Western ruling class and their puppets in the governments of countries in the collective West, including US. And a number of high-ranking Russian officials already stated that decision about strikes deep inside Russian territory already been made in the West, in Washington, in London. other major capitals that are providing formally Kyiv regime with long-range weapon systems. In reality, NATO military personnel that is operating with these long-range systems and are providing these systems with their targeting data. And Foreign Minister of Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, also spoke about it today, and he directly said that it is NATO that provides Kyiv regime with their satellite navigation and their satellite intelligence, with the military intelligence information, and so NATO is directly involved in this conflict. Also, on the topic of strikes deep inside Russia, Peskov, spokesman of the Russian president, made a comment, and he said that Russia will respond on such a development, although of course he didn't specify how Russia will respond. I guess we will find out soon, because as I already said, many members of Russian government, high-ranking officials here in Russia, number of times stated that according to their information, and they have access to obviously classified information also that is unavailable for us ordinary citizens, so according to them, decision to authorize strikes deep inside the Russian territory already been made, and it's only formalization is left, and therefore all this news that coming from Kyiv regime or West that US wants some additional information on Zelensky's plans, you know, London wants some more clarifications. All this stuff is just a media operation to prepare ground basically for what is to come. And yet again, press spokesman of the Russian president was quite clear. He said Moscow will respond on this next level of escalation. And just a few days ago, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov also spoke on this topic, and he said that Washington knows perfectly well where Russian red lines are, and they should not play with these red lines. So I'm afraid we are on a verge of some major escalation between Russia and the leading military powers in the collective West. Also interesting news that our media here in Russia and even in Ukraine, by the way, are talking about. Media and some independent sources. Here in Russia, when it comes to Ukraine, there is no independent sources there really. And who knows, maybe some channels in alternative media in the West also paid attention to this news, that there was an interesting story in Ukraine's settlement on Pokrovsk sector of the front line. Russian troops were advancing, and at some point Russian assault trooper met with their volunteers that were operating on behalf of Kyiv regime. They were dressed in a uniform, although without weapons. And video is circulating, by the way, on internet, and this video, I guess, was published by these volunteers. And they were, at least what we can judge from that video, those volunteers were trying to evacuate civilians from Ukraine's settlement. And when they saw Russian assault trooper, they get scared, understandably so, and they take some measures for safety. They informed Russian military that they are volunteers and they are evacuating civilians. And this Russian soldier saw civilians that were coming out of a basement of the building. And and he let these volunteers go away and take with them civilians. And many people, even in Ukraine, by the way, are a bit surprised, because I guess they think if it was a Ukrainian soldier that caught up with the Russian volunteers, it is hardly likely that these terrorists and mass murderers of the Kyiv regime will let Russian civilians and volunteers to leave place safely. So that's the difference for you, by the way, between Russian troops and their mass murderers and the terrorists of the Kyiv regime. Difference is huge, isn't it? Also, by the way, interesting news that Polish foreign minister Sikorski was pranked by Russian prankers, Vovan and Lexus, famous Russian prankers, and during the conversation, and Sikorski was thinking that he's talking to former US president, former Ukraine's president, I believe, Poroshenko. He said quite interesting stuff. For example, he revealed limits of support from Warsaw to Kyiv regime. But let's go through this news. So Poland has zero willingness to send troops to defend Ukraine. Foreign Minister of Poland, Sikorski, has told the Russian pranksters, Vovan and Lexus, who presented themselves as a former Ukrainian president, Petro Poroshenko, yes, in a prank call with Warsaw's top diplomat, published on Thursday. The pair typically dupe public figures into talking to them by imitating various officials. At one point, they fake Poroshenko asked whether Poland would be willing to join them and fight Russian troops on territory claimed by Ukraine. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk would be very reluctant to shut down Russian cruise missiles over Western Ukraine with the Polish interceptors. Is very, very controversial. So Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk would be very reluctant to do so, Sikorski replied on the question of the Russian pranksters if Warsaw will send its troops to fight against Russia alongside Kyiv regime's terrorists and mass murderers. And also Sikorski said that even their proposal to shut down Russian cruise missiles over Western Ukraine with the Polish interceptors is a very, very controversial, since this would amount to join the conflict, their official explained. If the front started to collapse, things might change, although Sikorski stressed. But at the moment, there is a zero willingness to do that, according to Foreign Minister of Poland. Quite interesting revelations from the Polish Foreign Minister. And dear friends, we came to quite an interesting place. Let me turn the camera and you see now what I see. This is a bank of the Moscow River, and this is a stop of the river trams. This is a stop of the river trams. This is Moscow River, of course, and we are now on island, by the way, because this Serebriny Bor is an island. Let's go there, see what's going on. And so, yes, quite interesting revelations from the Sikorski, isn't it, that Poland is not ready, at least for now, to participate in a direct conflict with Russia alongside the Kyiv regime. But Sikorsky also said that if front lines collapse or Kyiv regime's defense lines collapse, then things may change. I wonder what he meant by saying so, because I don't think Polish society has any appetite for a war with Russia. Interesting. Yes, let me continue. I'll stay here for a few more news. And also interesting developments are happening in Murmansk area, by the way. Today, in the first half of the day, Russian media outlets reported that Murmansk airport was restricting flights due to security issues, and because yesterday we had informations about attempt to strike one of their airfields, Russian airfields in Murmansk region. Obviously, rumors start circulated on Russian segment of internet that probably today, Kyiv regime once again tried to strike on one of the Russian airfields in Murmansk region, which is far away from the line of contact. Obviously, Murmansk is one of the most northern settlements, cities of the Russian Federation. Yesterday, rumors were circulating that those drones were flying from Norway's direction, which not necessarily means that those drones were launched from Norway. Their marshroute could be built in a way to simulate as if those drones were flown from Norway. Kyiv regime can do such provocations, and not just Kyiv regime, by the way. Masters of the Kyiv regime, which is of course Washington and London first of all, and the so-called secret services of the US and UK. Today, even though there was I did not see personally any publication on Russian segment of internet about possibility that there was attempted attack on Murmansk airport or any airfield there, and drones were flown from yet again Norway's direction. I'm quite sure similar rumors probably are circulating today also, but yet again 2 days in a row there is some emergency situation in the Murmansk region, which is definitely something to be, something that cannot be taken lightly. It's a serious security matter, of course, and I'm quite sure Russian security service is working on neutralizing threats that being generated by enemies of Russia in Murmansk region. Although, of course, questions are rising how Kyiv regime managed to fly drones this far from the line of contact, and some may speculate that these drones, some sabotage groups of Kyiv regime, crossed the border, went to Russian territory, and launched those drones from Russian territory, getting as close as possible to the Murmansk region. Also, by the way, interesting news that Kyiv wants India to stop being a postman. Insults, by the way. Kyiv regime is feeling so emboldened, seems like, by impunity with which they are committing crimes and acting on the world stage, that they are insulting once again India's leadership. I mean, how are you going to comment this? I don't even know. It's up to Foreign Minister of India, I guess, to respond on such stupid statements from Kyiv regime. So Kyiv wants India to stop being a postman, and this was reported in an article on Bloomberg, by the way. Ukraine has called on New Delhi to play a more robust role in peacemaking efforts if it wants to take up a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. And this sentence, by the way, on its own demonstrates with whom Russia is dealing when it comes to Kyiv regime and the Western masters of that regime. Who the hell is Zelensky or anyone in the Kyiv regime to decide whether India will sit in UN Security Council or not? I mean, this is crazy, man. The world is definitely in crazy, strange place, let's say this way, if this is really happening, and it is happening, man. Kyiv regime is talking to India like I don't know, man. And I'm quite sure India's foreign ministry will respond on these insulting statements from Kyiv, and probably, if not today, tomorrow we will hear something about it. And the Secretary of the Russian Security Council, former Defense Ministry, Shoigu, also spoke about India today, and he highlighted that India is one of Russia's key like-minded partners, and he is not wrong, by the way, on this. India is one of the most important, for many reasons, strategical partners of the Russian Federation, and I believe Russia is being seen in India also as one of most important strategical partners, and that's the language, by the way, that any country should speak with India, with respect. I tell this to those idiots in the Kyiv regime or their masters in the Washington or London. Also, by the way, very disturbing news reported by RIA Novosti that Pentagon is planning to do some studies on outcome of nuclear explosions in Eastern Europe, including Russia, in Europe in general, including Russia. And according to RIA Novosti, Pentagon is especially interested what kind of influence nuclear explosions will have on agricultural sector, which is, definitely can be seen as an indicator that something very dark is in preparations in Washington. I don't know, some miracle needs to happen, by the way, and the Western ruling class, so-called ruling class of the West, has to be neutralized before it's not too late, because they're gonna start Third World War, man. Western ruling class is definitely existential threat for humanity, as I said many times before, and every single day we have additional indicators of that. And this information is also can be seen as an indicator, because if Washington, the Western ruling class, has no plans to do some crazy on the world stage, then why would they finance, why would Pentagon finance studies on the topic of outcome of nuclear explosions in Europe, especially its influence on the agricultural sector? Something very nasty is in preparations in the US, by the way, and I mean, those people that are in charge in the West, they are evil, by the way. They really are evil force. And when it comes to Pentagon, another 1.2 billion US taxpayers' dollars have been allocated for military-industrial complex there to produce AMRAAM air-to-air missiles. And well, these missiles, by the way, if you think these missiles are meant to serve security purposes of the US, you are mistaken. Pentagon plans to transfer these missiles to Ukraine. How without this former Soviet Republic? Also Bulgaria, Japan, United Kingdom, Hungary, Germany, Italy, Canada, Bahrain, Norway, Finland, and Switzerland. This contract should be closed before 31st December of 2028. So yes, another 1.2 billion US taxpayers' money is going to pockets of their military-industrial complex, and this is definitely not their last paycheck that Pentagon is signing this year, for sure. Another tens of billions of dollars probably will be sent on the bank accounts, to the bank accounts of their military-industrial complex. Also, by the way, India is asking OPEC plus countries to increase oil production, and well, this is a difficult topic, isn't it? Even though India has massive respect, obviously, among OPEC plus member states, and Russia is, of course, member of OPEC plus. Well, I don't think it is feasible right now to increase production of oil, at least significantly, because just about a week ago I reported that OPEC plus member states made the decision to did not increase production of oil to maintain current level, to stabilize prices on oil. And last couple of days, by the way, oil prices were failing, and today I saw reports that oil prices start regaining position a little bit. So seems like this decision of OPEC Plus to not increase production of oil had its positive influence on the prices already. And well, despite a huge respect to India among member states, I don't think this is happening. I don't think production of oil will be increased at least significantly by OPEC plus member states, so much so that prices will fall down. It's just not happening. This is not in economical interests of their oil producing nations. And also, by the way, I will report about some anomaly weather here in Moscow that is about to happen. So this Friday, which is tomorrow, isn't it? Temperature in Moscow will reach 29 degrees Celsius, which is the highest temperature for last 115 years. And as you can see, dear friends, today is 12th of September, and I'm in a t-shirt in the evening time in Moscow. So it's a really nice, cool weather right now. Cool in the sense that it's nice weather. It's not cold. It's not even chilling weather. It's just wonderful. And tomorrow we're gonna have some record-breaking day in terms of high temperature, which is, I will say, great. Why not? I'm quite sure Muscovites and residents of or guests of Moscow, gonna enjoy pretty much hot sunny day. Although, of course, scientists then may start to argue that that's what is happening due to global warming and that kind of stuff. But right now, if tomorrow weather gonna be nice and warm, I don't think many people here in Moscow are gonna complain about it, if any. So this is it. This is it for this relatively short update. Hopefully you will find it interesting and informative. And if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary just about anything, any topic, to at least try and influence the algorithm. And if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends on any of the platforms that you are actively using or in a real life. And dear friends, if you like my work, if you like my channels, if you think we deserve to be in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support with small donations or by subscribing to my Patreon and Boosty pages. All the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Once again, thank you all for congratulations, for kind words and attention and support. Truly grateful. Have a great day and take care. Bye for now.